first page. This is already we have taught you with the block 1 basics of designing courseware, where we had 2 units, unit 1 instructional designs, it's unit 2 basics of courseware design. So yesterday we have started the block 2, which is development of the courseware. Development of the courseware for the print media and development of courseware through audio media, development of courseware through video, and development of reusable learning objects. So I have finished with you yesterday the development of courseware for the print media. Let us today start development of courseware for the audio medium. And I hope after understanding the audio medium, you can go yourself the development of courseware for the video medium. And I will be taking the unit 6. I'll try to take today only the unit 6, development of reusable learning objects, so that we can understand, we can just navigate through the block 2. So let me start the development of courseware for the audio medium. So we all know since last several decades, audio has been used as a powerful medium to help people learn. We really understand the power and the limitation of the audio medium. We know that the radio programs delivered through CD, DVD, they are considered as the audio medium, and these programs have advantage over the electronic means of delivery instructions. And I hope you people can understand accessible with these this audio medium is accessible to both teachers and students. They are affordable in terms of the costs of production, distribution, and use, appropriate for wide range of teaching and learning purposes. So, although radio is a mass medium, it can personalize communication through encouragement and support for the learning. We can reduce the dropout rate through timely encouragement and support provided through the radio programs. So I hope audio also provides you a cost-effective, which I was discussing, an alternative to text, especially when the learners who are visually impaired, without they cannot read it, so they cannot use the printed text. So this audio medium is helpful to those. Teaching through radio is also appropriate for teaching the language, music, when the sound, because they can easily be expressed, they can easily be communicated. The British Open University, in partnership with the BBC, is using the weekly radio programs in support of its first 4 foundation courses. Even the IGNU, our university, is also using the interactive radio counseling. So since last 2 decades. That's why this is one of the uses. But whenever there are some uses, it also has some limitations. The limitations, I hope you people know that radio programs are broadcast at fixed time, when the learners may not be able to listen. Radio is a transitory medium. Its programs can be heard only once. The pace of radio program is also predetermined. As a result, student cannot pause just to stop, just to rewind, just to listen again the program and think about what they have just heard. Another limitation is radio is essentially a one-way medium. It talks to a student, but it usually does not give the opportunity to interact. No doubt, now the interactive audios have come to the market, uh, through which the learners can interact with their peers, with the experts, with the teachers. Radio uses audio, a sound only medium, which lacks the visual dimension, because other sometimes it's become monotonous when you keep on hearing. If you have some visual dimension is being there, it is important because it involves your second sense organ, third sense. It involves more sense organs, so more retainability. So hence these are the uh, limitations which we realize uh, with the audio, with the radio system. So now the question comes, how you plan an audio program. Planning and design of any audio courseware is usually executed at three stages. At three stages, the first stage is institutional planning, second is planning, and third is program planning. So let us see what is this institutional planning, which refers to the planning, the allocation of resources for audio programs, and usually involves planning for the staffing and the budget. Series planning involves planning a series of programs for radio, for audio, for CDs and DVDs. That is second part of planning. And the third, the program planning, it involves detailed planning and the design of the whole program. So you can see that institutional planning is carried out by institution rather than an individual teacher. So some basic questions need to be answered for planning an audio courseware. First is communication for whom. It is always when we were discussing the print media, we were designing the courses. This is a common question for all. Communication for whom? With what instructional objectives? And by whom? And with what advanced preparation within that organization and administrative framework? Next, what is available in terms of time and money? So these are the usual questions which need to be answered for planning an audio courseware. Now you can very well think, communication for whom? It means the first point pertains to the target group's learning needs, what is their experience, what's their age, access to the broadcast and non-broadcast modes of instruction. The second question, uh, with what instructional objectives? So you can understand this second question pertains to the content and objectives of course. It's issues by whom, of course, it depends. These are the issues where institutions are concerned. The fourth, what advanced preparation within the organization and administrative. It pertains basically this organizational and administrative framework is governed by the policies and organization structure of the institution producing the audio. Therefore, while planning audio programs, you have to consider the target group to answer the first question, as well as the institutional policies and resources, because without resources, you cannot plan an audio program. So here this question comes, communication to whom? It means you should know your audience. We are going to communicate with whom? So there is so we have to discuss the Thomas was one of the scientists who said at least three types of information is useful for knowing your audience. The first of it is demographic data information regarding the audience age, gender, education levels, occupation, rural or urban area to which they belong. This is the first sort of information if you want to know your audience. Second is the knowledge, skills, and attitudes, information regarding the audience previous knowledge as well as their expectations for the course. Okay. And the third is assess facilities and study skills information regarding the how the our audience to whom for whom we are learning they can access to the equipments for assessing their audio. Will they do they have the mobile phones? Do they have radio? Electricity is there? What is the quality of reception of audio signals there? Earlier experience of learning from audio, any broadcast timing which is suitable for learners. So these are how they will assess the technology. Are they able to do? And if they can, only then we can plan of this system. So obtaining the information is a challenge. To gather accurate and authentic information, one has to carry out audio research or audio surveys and questionnaires and interviews. So you can then get the information in effective and economical way by meeting the focus group. Focus group readily represents the target audience and serves as a sample for the target population. So this is the thing that what do you should know about your audience. Now, the another thing is that what is the instructional objectives? Now that means the next and and before this step, I have tell you that there is that we should plan and for we should see what before constructing the institutional objectives, before planning the content. The planning is keeping in view the audience. We have to select the appropriate content for designing the intended message. So you have to consider the pedagogic strengths and weaknesses of audio medium while discussing the way. So, so planning. So while so appropriate content for designing has to be thought about. What will be the pedagogic strengths and weaknesses? We have to decide as or when we are using an audio medium, because while deciding the type of content, you have to see we this audio is useful for teaching language, for any pronunciations, for musics, for themes, for themes the some themes in the history, dramatization, and quiz program, storytelling. So these type of things which can clear the concepts, such concepts can be planned out by for the audio medium. So you all know that audio medium does not require visuals. So apart from the nature of content, the instructional objectives which are to be set for any program should also determine the content for the selected program. So you have known your audience, you have seen the content, thought for the content selection. Now you are designing any message. Courseware delivers education messages. Message designing is a creative process of integrating the words, images, motion, sounds into a message that can easily and clearly convey an idea to the target group. So, message is well defined, well designed messages are found They are to be simple, they can be easily memorable, easily understood, culturally appropriate, and meaningful to the audience. So the term message is considered as an information which is being conveyed from a sender to a receiver. It is communicated by the sender with the hope, with the imagination, with the intention that recipient should able to understand. Educational messages may inform you or explain you, encourage your thinking, teach some language, and so on. So educational messages may, so message designing. And now the question comes, how for an effective message, it has to be very clear, accurate, it should meet the audience needs and should be able to convey that what are the expectations for which this medium, this program is being, courseware is being constructed, and thus it involves creation of quality messages that effectively and efficiently influence the thoughts, feelings, and the behaviors of the target audience. While designing any message, we need to focus three C's. What are those three C's? First is command attention. This requires attracting and holding the audience attention. This we are already studying for the print media, for any instructional design. This is the first important need, that does it should attract as well as hold the audience attention. Clarify the message to ensure that the message is clear and can easily be understood. We should avoid, for the clarity, we should avoid difficult words, complex sentences. And the third C is call to action, making the audience act as the desirable way. So these are the requirements for designing any message which can convey your courseware. Now, once you have written the content, you are supposed to go for the structuring of content for the audio program. So what the content of a program needs to be structured in such a way that it has a logical organization. So it needs that the whole, there should be sequencing of the content. Further, it is the structure should be such that that it includes at the very beginning of the program an element of attraction, attract the audience. For sometimes we see if the beginning is very interesting, the person retains there, try to listen the whole. So an interesting beginning is to be followed by the content that tells the audience how the understanding gained from the program is going to benefit them. So these are the some of the things in short I am taking, that while structuring the content, how you think. But while structuring, you see, you have read for writing a paper and the formats. Now let us, after the structure of the audio programs, we have to see what are the different formats of the audio programs. The formats for the different programs, you can see, I hope if the students can say, what are the different formats in your mind? You see, the people who are attending the audio programs or is learning through the audio programs, they may be fond of the dramas, they may enjoy the discussions, So these discussions, drama, lectures, documentary, quiz, magazine, and all like this, direct formats, they are the direct formats of the radio program. You can see the formats can be used singly or in combination. What you mean by combination? They can be hybrid formats, which may involve uh, exclusively the drama or exclusively the discussion. But if it is hybrid, we call it as a doku drama. Doku drama means it involves the documentary as well as the drama. So, in educational programs, documentaries, drama, talk, interview, story discussion, recitation of poems are the appropriate formats of the radio programs. So, basically, these for educational programs, so documentary, doc, interview, story, discussion, recitation of poems are the most appropriate formats, and the formats involve the voice and music for emphasizing the mood. And so there, which format you use, basically you it depends upon the audience age, on the educational background, nature of content. And so these, basically, the how we if I take exclusively the different formats, there can be six ways, six formats. First, we all know talk. This is the oldest format on radio, and it is traditionally used in Britain and India. But if we are using it for the teaching learning, we have to be very serious at this format with regards its effectiveness. Because sometimes if we use them, as I have told you earlier, if the children are young, it can be monotonous. Second format, if you are seeing, that is interview. It is very popular format in mass media. uh, Mass media for, you understand, the newspapers, radio, television, magazines. The interviewer asks the questions to the interview, and the response by experts. They speak out the content for the audience. So uh, these are this is one of the format of the uh, messaging format for any audio program. Discussion. The format facilitate the audience to get different perspective pertaining to social, norm, economic, and ethnic issues. This discussion helps to understand each other. The In these such sort of a discussion, the role of the moderator becomes very important, as it is crucial and introduce the topics, conduct the discussions. In such way, participants get enough time to discuss, to reflect, and to offer their views. Features. What is the format? This features. This is not a single program, but the single programs involve interview, right, talk, drama, and so on. So audio programs, and then it can within one program, basically there can be number of features, which I just told you. It can be an interview, then it can be a talk, and then we can have a drama, and we can add some more also. Drama, as I already told you. So drama is a very challenging thing, basically, through the radio, because when the actor plays, there is no visual view of it. So everything you have to show by your words, and that's why human voice, music, and sound effects usually helps to play a beautiful drama. In drama, voice of each actor is a character and needs to be much effectively And similarly, you are seeing the magazines. The magazines can be biannual or weekly. They can be weekly, bi-weekly, fortnightly, or monthly, and they are the audio magazines. And here you can see there is an editorial like we see in the newspaper, followed by some articles, reviews, interviews, discussions, and some talks. So these magazine programs are generally broadcast for a special or specific audience. So these are the basic formats which are being used to frame a audio program. So there are some few, if you see at the beginning, the main purpose he has said, planning your audio program is knowing your audience and content selection, designing a message as I have finished just now, how to design a message and structuring content for this. Then, uh, correct. So now we will be seeing how the idea of the concept, idea and treatment. What is this concept? What is this concept and idea and treatment? Because we have to consider them before we just script it down. So concept proposal is an initial step while planning the production. It involves a written proposal for the audio production. While developing the consent of the proposal, uh, while means we see that whether this proposal we are taking is correct or not, because we should include. So I have just said that while developing the consent proposal or a program, we must see it should be short. The matter description should be short. It should be as per the audience. It should be objectives of the program. It should have that pertinent question should be there. So these are the concept, means concept proposal. This conducts. So this is the way we understand the concept. The second word we have learned is an idea. Idea is what is an idea. Actually, it communicates the concept. For example, we want to, our concept is for waste management, and we want to take up this matter to the audio, for an audio programming. Then we have to use some idea in such a way that the concept of waste material can easily be conveyed. So hence we can have an idea of 3R mantras: reduce, reuse, and recycle, to communicate the concept. This develop an idea, you have to read lot of literature which pertains to the content. After formatting, after forming an idea, you need to reflect on its suitability for your audience. So this is the basically question. Then comes the treatment. There are three important words before we frame it. Treatment. What is a treatment? Treatment means expanded description and of the outlines of each segment of audio, and suggests different type of audio, sound effects, music, narration, which has to be used, and how visual elements will be communicated through audio. As you all know, no, people speak. Even in the drama, the person has to speak out, and the audience has to understand what is the personality, what is the surrounding of that person. So communicating a standard about someone. So this is like some, there are sound effects of a clock ticking, of a rain, of a person is coming here. So these means we extend the description of each segment. The in an audio program, As you say, in the treatment, we try to manifest certain, apart from the human voice, we try to put some sounds, recorded sounds, the music sounds like nature of the rainfall, birds, chirping of the birds, singing, wind breeze. Depends which time you are showing, which where you want, which part, how you are depicting. Breeze blowing, rustling of tree leaves, waves of sea, lightning, sound of vehicles, noise on the street, and so on. So the sounds are inserted at an appropriate time in the audio. So these are the treatment. These type of effects, which are which are being added up, just to, like music, it added up for the different emotion of happiness, sadness, and excitement, humor. So these are this concept which comes under the treatment. After knowing the audience, constructing the material, after seeing the concept, idea, and treatment, we come to the script writing. Because you have planned some audio program, you have expressed your plan as a proposal, your idea of the message as its treatment. Um, you need now the script to be written now. The next step, the content is to be communicated through an audio program, is now turned into a script. So, however, for formats like interviews and panel discussions, the content is not scripted in advance but generated by the speakers on the spot. The formats deciding an outline of what they are covered with. So, what should I say? The formats I have already discussed: interviews, panel discussion. They are scripted for the interviews and panel. They are not subscripted. It is generated on the spot. But the formats deciding an outline of what should be covered will help you in including the key points and keeping the discussion focused. So this is the things which we have to keep it in mind. We should, so a script required for the format, like for example drama or a talk and so on. So in this, writing for an audio script is considered for hearing. It is referred to as spoken words against the written words. The spoken words are written down in the form of a script. You should remind, and so because you all know, we are not going to write for ears, not for the eyes. Our primary concern is that educational audio codes should have clarity, therefore, the content be such that hearing clarifies it. So, this is the important things which you have to keep it in mind. The script should also be able to engage the audience and sustain their interest. There are the key to any successful production of the script depends upon the following elements which are to be taken care of for effective script. First is the hooking of the audience. Hooking, who you all understand. It is very important how you begin the program. And because any person who scrolls down or just switch on, it means they will first like to see how you begin the program. Audience will decide whether they listen to the radio audio programs on further attention and some other activities. You have to use some aids. You can using the humor, and sometimes you have to really use certain methods to hook the surprising audience. All right. So, in addition to this the script should be such that it draws the learner's attentions and highlights the program objectives right in the beginning so that the audience can understand the utility of the program. So second, the important part of the script is writing as per the audience profile, because when you write for the local audience target group known to you, you can use the language and even dialect of that locality and contextualize the script to the needs. But these things, you have to contextualize the script as per their needs. Uh, but these things, no doubt, while writing a script, is challenging because you have to use it for a wide audience. But however, the major factor is the age. So writing style for the adolescent, children, and the older people have to be different. So this script has to take care of. Clarity should be there. It is important to have clarity in the script. Must write short, simple sentences and avoid difficult words. Because if it's lack the clarity, it will not be able to sustain the learner's interest. As I've already been telling in the print media and other chapters units, we should use active voice. We should avoid assumption that learners will understand. Means it is not always that they will understand, because in the print media, usually if we write some word, we put some explanation in the parenthesis, and so that the person, or I can say the brackets, so that the person can link up and understands. So this uh, so this I hope we should not assume that because there is no such facility of putting the things, there is no such print media, so hence just expanding the abbreviation so that audio does not while describing the script, all the persons sitting there should understand the what is the purpose. uh, uh, Creating a pause. Audio allows, as I told, only transmission of information and disallows interaction. So the learner, so the need to make learner pause to think by using questionnaires like means uh, there is that the children may not even continuously sit and pay their attention to listen. So there should be there the need is to make the learner pause and then to think by asking the questions. You can just make them that feel that they are with you. Listen to this speech, try to recognize the speaker. Like few questions can be put to them. And if you put some statement, you can ask them whether the statement is correct, whether it matches what we are doing. So these type of things help us to just pause the learning and make the persons available there to understand. Reinforcement of learning points. Of course, anyone can forget. So it is very important that the script should have a provision that it reinforce the learning joints points by clarifying the concept repeatedly, that it register in mind of the audience. For beginning to end, linking of the concept. Suppose I start with some another topic and reaches to some another topic. I am talking to you of the audio and reaches the video. So it will delink you. So it has to be in the joint manner, not in the disjointed manner. The script should include few concepts. The content should not include more concepts. So it should include few concepts so that attention span of learners, especially children, they cannot go for a long. So hence we should take care of it. Recapitulation and summing it up. As I've told you last time, that the end part of the script or any end instructions which we lay down, programs we made, we should the separate the end. So here the whole program should not end abruptly, but it has to be smooth. It should summarize the content and highlight the central area or the main theme and reinforce it before the program's modules end. The subject matter should be thoroughly researched. This is necessary so that it has to be accurate, it has to be updated, it has to be relevant. So we should not, it is the responsibility of the teacher that the information being constructed should be updated. Avoid mentioning specific date and time. The program should not be written with a specific date and time, as it has to be broadcasted or played repeatedly. The writing should not be reproduction of the content from a textbook or review. As I already told you, it is an act of plagiarism. It may be based upon the text to promote learning, but it has to be adopted and rewritten for the audio format. You have to be very conscious for the intellectual property rights. Soothing music and appropriate sound effects. These elements enhance the quality of audio program. The language of the script, we all understand that the we should use a language which is really understood by all the people in their daily life. It should not sound formal while writing for the audience. We should address the audience directly on one or more basis. These are the ways we have to be using the simple languages. I said the take care of the copyright, just discussed. Audio should not violate the copyrights. So writing an audio script is an art that requires mastery over the content, sound knowledge of the target audience, and also requires good storytelling skills. So here now we have written a script. Now then what after it? Once we have checked the proposed contents, audience worked out. So after planning the audio, after all this, we just plan out for the audio programs which is to be produced. The process of production of an audio program usually involves 3 stages. They are pre-production, production, and post-production stages. The stage of pre-production, what is this? This pre-production which I was discussing before coming to this topic, that is knowing your audience, selecting and structuring the content, designing the message, writing the script. These are the things in the pre-production stage. During the second stage, that is the production stage, the audio is recorded in the audio studio and also at the outdoor locations. Recording is, after recording, it is followed by the post-production stage. And what is this post-production? Here, once you have recorded, you may like to go for editing, or you may like to add some sounds, that is mixing, adding some sound effects. These are carried out at this stage of the audio programming. So audio recording is, if we discuss the audio recording, there are 4 basic stages, because I have discussed with you the first part, that is pre-production. Now, while production, we have to go for the audio recording. Audio recording has 4 basic stages. In the first stage, the recording engineer just decides what type of microphone to be used and it just checks the positioning of the microphone, how it has to be placed for the participants and the music instruments. The second stage involves editing. Once you have structured the whole equipment and the place the things, then there is a scope for the editing. At this stage, the recording is edited and it includes the balancing of the sound, tuning of the sounds, clearing, because while recording, while sending the message from sender to the receiver, there can be a noise, so there can be a background sounds, so all are edited at this stage. At the third stage, it involves the mixing of the tracks when various sound effects and the background musics are mixed. In the fourth and the final stage, there is mastering, which is most aspect important thing in this audio recording. Mastering involves preparing and transferring the audio recording from the source that has the final mix to a data storage device. If you Shannon and Weaver model, which we have studied in MES 032, you must have seen there are storage from the source. It is being shifted to data storage device, that is the master. That wise, this is the mastering process, which is the source from which all copies will be produced for the distribution. To know more, so this is the way the audio recording is being done. As I told you, in the post production stage, that is editing, mixing, adding sounds. So what is this editing? So editing is just like we edit a written document. But instead of manipulating words by deleting, replacing, copying, and pasting, we here manipulate the sound. So this involves manipulation of the audio to alter its length, speed, and volume. Now, audio editing uh, involves nowadays, it involves the use of audio editing softwares. Selection of audio editor software depends upon the factors like purpose of using the editor, your skill level, the budget position. Some common audio editors used are Adobe Audition, Audacity, Acoustica Standard Edition, so and many others. So audio editing is the this is the final stage of an audio program. This is being done. So before broadcasting this audio program, we put it on the, or it is placed on the public domain. Pre-testing or pre-listening is essential. Teachers can carry out academic review to ensure that the content and pedagogy are appropriate. So there should not be any gender bias or any violation of broadcast codes or copyright issues. So this we call it as a pre-testing or pre-listening. Now friends, now the audio program is also constructed. Now what to do? Audio program, then the delivery of audio comes into the picture. What after the print, audio is the most flexible and the user-friendly media, which uh, allows anyone to teach. But how to deliver these audio programs to the audience? The delivery of audio programs is broadly divided into two categories: broadcast and non-broadcast. Broadcast mode of delivery uses the internet radio, community radio, and podcasts. While non-broadcast mode of delivery, what they include are CD, DVDs, etc. So let's understand broadcast. First, let us go through the delivery mode, broadcast, and then non-broadcast. Broadcast, as I told you, internet radio, community radio, and podcast. So besides, you all know, we all even listens the FM radios or journal radios, but now the concept of internet radio, community radio, are and podcast are being used for reaching the target audience. So what are these? What is this internet radio? If you remember, we have already studied in our earlier course also. This internet radio includes the audio services that are transmitted via the internet. The webcasting for an internet radio, as it is, we use the webcasting. So why we use the word webcasting for this? Because internet radio basically, as it is, the broadcast is through radio signals, right? It is not through the radio signals, but it is using the internet. So hence internet radio can be heard anywhere in the world, and has, if there is an access to the internet. What is the community radio? To deliver audio masses to the audience with the varied needs, community radio is an important medium. Community radio is usually a short range, not for the profit radio station or the channel that caters to the information needs of the people living in a particular locality in the languages and the formats that are most adapted to the local context. So communicate radio is run by the volunteers for the low cost, using low cost technology, and it is a beautiful, excellent way to communicate with the local communities. Podcast. What is a postcard? Podcast is a digital audio file made available on the internet for downloading to a computer or a mobile device, typically available as a series, installments of which can be received by subscriber automatically. So basically, this podcast is being coined by iPod and broadcast. Podcasting was started basically individually by the for the people who who individuals who like to build a community of people of their own taste, and they feel like posting the messages to them. But after that, this podcast where some audio files are being downloaded, they are being used by the companies, and for training their employees, and some uh, and through TV, even networks are using them, radio networks are using them. So this is the way for these are the ways for the broadcast. So uh, now, what are the non-broadcast things? If you understand, there are audios which are available in the repository for educational purposes, and you just don't need, you go over there, look upon the repository, and this becomes a non-broadcast mode of delivery. You know, there is a, as far as the Delhi Gyan Vani, you see the broadcasting part, Delhi Gyan Vani, FM radio available online, the interactive radio counseling sessions, and by our IGNU, and these are the ways where we use the broadcasting. So eGyanKosh, National Digital Laboratory, is created to store, index, preserve, distribute, and share the digital learning resources which are developed by the open and distance learning institutions in the country. The audios available in this repository, which I was discussing, are for educational purposes, and this is non-broadcast mode of delivery through which the learners can use it. Then for any program which is being constructed or communicated, there has to be an evaluation. As far as evaluation is concerned, we all know the evaluation is of two types, formative and summative. So feedback for the evaluation can be obtained for the following. So must have the feedback questions like how far have the objectives been achieved? Is the content appropriate? Is the language appropriate? Is the pacing of the program appropriate? Is the background music appropriate? Is the program self-contained? So these are the questions which must be seen before in the formative evaluation. And so, in summative evaluation will reveal the impact of the program and the need, if there is any need to alter the input. So, this is the unit 4, which makes you to learn development of development of courseware for the audio medium. So in this block, I have told you how to develop the courseware for print medium, and how now the second by audio medium. Third, the fifth unit is for video medium. You can just look into it. Let us see some new thing. Development of reusable learning objects. What do you mean by this? First, you are preparing your learning materials either using audio by audio programming or video programming or through print media. So uh, let us understand the development of reusable learning objects. For this, we have to understand what are these RLOs. RLOs means reusable learning objects. So you must see here the concept is a bit different. You know that the resources are available or recreate those which can exist. These some resources support learning and they are small. These resources are hence called learning objects. We put it like LOs. The LOs that are developed for sharing, if those learning objects are being used for sharing and are being reusable, then they are known as RLOs. That is reusable learning objects. So this whole unit is based, needs a discussion on the concept of RLO. So before starting it, let me make you understand. Just few minutes before I said development of courseware by audio programming, earlier by print, then video. So you just see what is common in it. This whole courseware delivery, development of the courseware for delivery is through single medium, either audio or video or print. But if we develop in multimedia content, then you may develop the RLOs. So let us see. So in this whole unit, we will be learning about the reusable learning objects and understand what is the concept of RLOs, what is the benefit of RLOs, what are the authoring tools, and how to develop it. So LO, before you understand RLOs, let us define LOs, that is learning object. LO is a collection of content items. It is content, it is practice item, it is assessment items that are combined on the basis of a single learning object. So the concept of, so you can understand what basically it is. No doubt different scientists explain them in their different ways. So one of the authors, Ville, said that LO is any digital resource that can be reused to support learning. LOs are an entity, digital or non-digital. So, which can be used, reused, or referenced during technology-supported learning. LOs range from the maps and charts to the video demonstrations and interactive simulations. LO is a small but an independent unit. The content of LO is adequate for learning, and learners do not have to use other resources for understanding the concept. So you are understanding what is these LOs. This implies that the content of an LO is adequate, as I told you, and that learners don't need any other resource to learn it. So it described content as well as static and interactive. So these LOs, a learning of which which is developed for repeated use as a reusable object, and a reusable object developed for learning is a reusable learning object. So mere access to resources, however, does not make them reusable. These resources, besides being accessible, should be suitable for repurposing to match the learning need of those reusing it. I explain you that if you purchase a dress in the market, right, but that dress is not of your size, you cannot alter it of your own size. So these RLOs, although however an RLO on development of SLM for print media developed for the purpose of training distance education teaching. I try to explain this concept of RLO in such a way that there is an RLO, reusable learning material object. It is there available, and you use that RLO for teaching your teachers. But that RLO does not finishes over there. That RLO can be repurposed for the purpose of training, the employees engaged in developing their manuals for industrial products. So LOs are standalone components, but these can be assembled and packed into larger units like modules and courses. LOs are therefore being aggregated. So these LOs, they are, if reusable, they becomes the RLOs. So what should be the characteristics of these RLOs? RLOs, always keep it in mind, they are reusable. The thing reusable means they can be repurposed, they can be reused, and they have to be repurposing. You have seen that if you use some material, they have some their own copyrights. You cannot use them. If you want to use them, you need the author's permission. But and for content in if the author gives you ownership, then only the content is free. So you should understand these LOs are without any open. They are without open license, and any LO which is not with the open license, they cannot be reused. So RLO has to be reused and repurposed. So they are open. LOs, second characteristics is they are meant for imparting instructions. So very definition of makes it clear that they are developed for facilitating any learning, and they can facilitate this process. It has their RLOs have they should have the simplicity. LOs are to be small with a very clear, simple, single objectives, and should not be overloaded. Has to be simple possible. Simplicity aids them in the recombination. Before I take you further, let me explain you, to avoid confusion, what basically these are. Suppose I have a diagram of digestive system. That is a standalone learning object. But you are using to teach the distance system. You are delivering or preparing some program on the different available systems in the human body. So but rather than you prepare that slides for digestive system, you can just pick up these RLOs and can fit them in your presentation, in your lectures, so that that's why the RLOs have a single objectives. They can be only used if they are simple, then only they will aid, they will be reused or will go for recombination. So this way they have to be simple. So they are self-contained, independent entities with standalone content. I just told you, yes, they include specifically for attaining some instructional objectives. RLOs should be as far as possible freestanding, should not refer to the content cover under any other object. As you say, when I go through your study material, we just see as we have read in Unit 2 or we have seen in Unit 1. So these are the back references for any chapter, but these RLOs are standalone. They do not cover any other, they should not refer to the content covered in some other object. So they are self-contained. RLOs are stored and managed in repositories. RLOs are mostly the digital formats, thus make it easy to assess them. Combine this into the course. They can be easily updated, stored in a repository, and curate. They can be repurposed. They can. So, some of the repositories that provides to the access to the e-learning learning materials. The few I can name for you: Merlot, that is multimedia educational resource for learning and online teaching. Delzi, Digital Library of Earth System Education. Orange Groove, Health Education Digital SS. HEAL we call it. So RLOs are always updated by deleting the outdated objects and storing them systematically. RLOs have a metadata tags. Do you understand what is metadata tags? Meta means beyond. Metadata means they will describe, they will put some words through which you can understand. So they will describe the content of the RLO. These you all know that like IGNU course, you have the blocks, you have the titles. Sometimes you have the books with the author number, name, ISBN number. So what are these? These are metadata tags. Through these, you can easily navigate the material which is going to be delivered. RLO should be free or fixed format and cultural context. As I already told you, RLO are standalone, they are self-contained, so they are easy to update, they have to update and customize, they can be avoiding a fixed format while developing these makes them reusable and repurposing easy. So RLOs can be used for a wider population, for a wider audience. It is free of cultural context as it doesn't take into account any food, dress, tradition, idioms related to the culture, and hence uh, so uh, so mm, uh, this while preparing RLOs, this concept has to be taken care always. So RLOs need to have interpolarability. That means interpolarity means the RLOs need to be so that they can be operated, because you have to recombine, you have to make your learning effective. So these RLOs should operate across different platforms and communicate with other tools Interpolarity requires meaningful exchange of the data across the devices, systems, application, podcast without the users having to take some special initiatives. So it has to be interoperable. For example, uh, sometimes the scientist who has come up with papas, he says using HTML5 based e-learning authoring tools instead of Flash for creating LOs is helpful as many as learners can use mobile devices, but they cannot play content created with the Flash. So this way, interoperability means they can be used on different platforms. So across the different systems. The major goal, though it is very challengeable, but still we this RLO has to be. What are the benefits of RLOs? See, RLOs, you can understand that good learning resources are expensive to produce. While RLOs, as I told you, I am talking about a broader thing, but RO is on the digestive system. So I can put and recombine, restructure with my material and we need not to go for prepare my slides or my content regarding that digestive system. So RLOs save time and money required for creating new ones. RLOs are being used in education, therefore they are being used in education, military, corporate sector and other areas for training programs. RLOs are for enriching, supplementing the content taught, resulted into a blended learning. So RLOs are you all have understood. Learners also benefit as they do not have to enroll in a long duration course of learning for one topic. For example, I was just taking digestive system. The student need not to go for the physiology class course to understand one. Moreover, learners not have access to good libraries sometimes, online platforms, good journals and books, good teachers, they are benefited by using RLOs. So RLOs increase the teachers' bandwidth and benefits more students by making good teachers available to more. Creating RLO also helps teachers, especially for developing collaboratively technology uh, that supports distributed authoring. So, in this way, the learner as well as the teacher both are benefited by RLO. It seems it is financially too viable. So, while they are on the platforms, they are in the different medias. So, how you will select a RLO? So, while selecting the RLO, the subject expert should check the authenticity of the content. Second, there should it should be clear pedagogical purpose can lessen the effectiveness of. There should be a proper pedagogical purpose. Otherwise, it will lose the RLO will lose its effectiveness. So RLO should be imported into the course only if RLO helps to attain the course object. The third, RLO that engage learner only in reading text or watching video have a behavioristic orientation and are teacher centric as learner only receive information. So, but RLO should support meaningful learning. RLO that includes activities to engage learners in thinking and doing, make learning an active and meaningful process, and adopt learner centric pedagogies. So these are, that's why the RLOs are, there is this way you can select. Now RLO are usually digital, as I told you. They can be integrated into online courses you are teaching. They themselves are standalone digital courses. And you just see they standalone courseware includes content in one or more media, has very few instructional objectives, and can be reused is an RLO. These are the qualities of an RLO. I repeat, let's say again, repeat for you. A standalone digital courseware which includes the content in one or more media. In our previous chapters, we have said using video, using audio. Here, what I am saying for RLO is that it includes a content in one or more media and has a few instructional objectives which can be reused and repurposed is called an RLO. So what is this multimedia? Multimedia for delivering instructions. This means various media deliver content independently. As we have read, radio programs use audio, print media delivers study learning SLMs, video media is used for a television programs. Multimedia integrates content developed for delivery through various media. The content is delivered using CD, DVD, or is delivered online. So the films and the television programs usually have multimedia content, which include, what is this content? What is this media, multimedia content? Multimedia content includes in the form of a text, audio, still, animated images, all are there in the multimedia content. Because the RLOs which are being produced, you can see, you can hear, you can see, you can read. So this content is in the different forms. So educational multimedia, different media complement each other. It is not a single media. Like the video has the potential for demonstrating the process and situation. Text describes the movement. Animated images shows it. And therefore the content in various media complement and supplement each other so that the learner can see, hear, and read. So we should make sure that they do not only see, read, and hear the same thing. Hence, we make assembly of the text, videos, and audios that repeat the content hardly comprise. Means they are so, hence, we basically assemble them. So how we design the instructional designing of this RLOs? RLOs are basically designed by, we have discussed the different models. So you must have remembered ADDIE. A for analysis, D for designing, D for development, I for implementation, and E for evaluation. So instruction material for RLOs are also prepared on the same background analysis of the learners, designing the content of RLOs for a few objectives, organize the content, select the media for delivery. So while giving for preparing any material, we can use the flowcharts, short videos, demonstrate learning in different situations, simulations. So these are all designing the contents, developing the contents, the RLOs. You have the titles, you have details, you have some metadata tags, so that you can develop this material, implementation and evaluation, and we implement it. So you all understand the evaluation, same formative and summative. There is very small view given to you that how these basically different medias are being involved in preparing these RLOs. So what are basically these medias are? How do we prepare through this multimedia content? So if you go through your study material, you will get an idea that there are certain authoring tools. We say that this is it is not that easy that we just assemble the content from different media and we just prepare some interactive program. No, so we need, while assembling the contents in various media, we require some special tools through which we just a collection, we attained the isolated elements which are in the different media, but each of these helps to facilitate the just they are being connected to each other to attain the overall instructional objectives of the multimedia content. So the authoring tools are what? Basically, what are these tools? Authoring tools are the software applications used for developing e-learning products, and these are useful as these are programming skills and are not required for creating content with these tools. As teacher can use these tools, author where these tools simply learning experience like reading text, watching video, complex ones, participation in simulation, gaming, visual words. So these tools help to attain these things, and the tools can these tools can be used to help these elements to develop these programs by assembling them, and they using so they get a template and the program is being launched. Like if you want to give some simulation, like you want to provide a learning experience like flying aeroplanes, carrying out hazardous experiment, and uh, using extensively the games, military training, automobile manufacturing, and any other sectors. So these tools can perform variety of functions. So by this we produce the multimedia we use to produce RLOs. So I hope we are approaching the time. If you go through this, like in video, if you see the courseware produced through video, we have a storyboards. When we have after using this authoring tools, and we have to be very sure that while producing the RLOs which we have mentioned, they should be they can be linked, they can be put on the different platforms. After just thinking about it, we put it on the screen, and the storyboards, when you will see the courseware production via video, you will know, you will learn about the storyboards. So storyboard is a full graphical expression of what the screens will look like when we will place the multimedia production over this, what pictures will be seen, and what audio and text will accompany the images. So this way, like I should say, you all have seen the ATM machine. When you insert your card, you will see the different languages will come. They selecting an option, they will make you to navigate the different scene. Then again you will do something, they will take you to the mini statements, balance formations, and so on. So same is this storyboard. The multimedia contents need to be visualized, organized as screens, and each screen is planned using the storyboard. The storyboard indicates all the element as well as the links of navigation. So This is the way the screens, the storyboards, the material is to put. While preparing the detailed storyboard to visualize the content, we have to be careful about the font, style, animation, special effects. We should see the color combination which we are using. We should you should see what is the background of music of an audio. It may make the narration it should not make the narration inaudible. So these are the things for developing the storyboard. After all, the storyboards are using the authoring tools. You prepare all this, and ultimately, the, there are certain standards which are to be followed whenever some e-content is developed, and some digital courseware RLOs are there, because they should be easily used on different LMS. There usually the score is the standards technical in nature. According to these specifications, these are being taken up because it helps the communication from OLOS to LMS, and they are by following these norms, they are compatible to all the platforms. So I hope you must be doing the SWAM portal, which are resources for online courses which are being offered through the SWAM platform of India, are organized into the. You will find the different approaches like MOOCs offered by many institutions during the COVID times. All these concept has taken a very special space. So the approach organizes the here the this. But they so in such in all these delivery processes, the RLOs are being created. RLOs need not be necessarily be courses, but they can be developed even for the short courses for teaching any concept, and these content can be developed in different directions. For example, thus in the SWAM, the online courses are developed into the four quadrant approach. The first quadrant of includes the videos of e-tutorials. The second includes the e-content with about 3,500 words, illustrations, links to the content, and so on. The third quadrant involves assessment solutions, multiple choice questions, short answers type, quizzes. The fourth quadrant involves the discussion forum that allows the learners to interact with the instructors and the peers. Again, it may be any program developed. We have to see, we have to go for the evaluation. Again, the programs being developed, RLOs being developed, they have to be, we have to see that we have to make sure that all the links which are designed, the navigation should be smooth. It passes the performance testing with different hardwares and operating system configurations. So in this way, you can understand that how we have thought of we can development of the reusable learning object. We finishes up with the unit 4 7 sorry 6. If I see the last block with for you, it is a courseware development delivery, or we can say eighth is the management of this coursewares. So if you see, if I can just take in short that this delivery of instruction is concerned, unit 7. If briefly I will take you, you have learned the broadcast and non-broadcast modes of delivery instructions. You have learned synchronous and asynchronous learners, and asynchronous and synchronous learning. So there had the delivery nowadays is through, I have just discussed through the SWAM portal. Online lectures are there. M-learning is there, which involves the use of mobile devices like smartphone, tablet, and similar type of learning. It makes learning flexible, but some technical challenges are to overcome all these new learning ways. Mobile apps deliver instructions once downloaded, they can work even the offline. LMS is another mean of delivering instructions, integrates the teaching and support for learning. MOOCs have also emerged as a means for delivering courseware. These are online courses that are free of cost and can support user development. So, if I hope you people will able to carry out this MES 134 successfully. And as far as this is concerned, the last unit, management of courseware development and archival. So thus you can understand the cataloging, retrieval, and archival of media courseware are important aspects that need to be taken care in a very systematic manner for optimum utilization of the same. So it is very clear that the media libraries, resource centers are needed to store the courseware. Many media libraries and resource centers now have digitalized their content for ensuring economy of space and efficient retrieval, and also to provide users with the online access to these resources. I hope I could give you it just an overview of unit 8 and I probably 7 and 8, that what you will be dealing with in the delivery of contents and management of courseware development. So you can understand well now how to design, develop, and deliver the coursewares. I'm very thankful to all of you for being with me and to finish up this course in the due time of 3 days allotted to me. Thank you to RC Chandigarh for helping me out as far as the technical support is concerned. Thank you to all of you. I request RC Chandigarh, now it's the time to leave. So we are leaving, sir.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. We can leave the we can stop the class now.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.